Oh, hello, hello, my lovely freedom fighting, glorious humans across the world who are on a mission for food freedom and feeling absolutely bloody fabulous in their bodies again. Today's live couldn't actually come at a better day because I'm based here in Mallorca in Spain. And after quite a few cold weeks of miserable wet weather, we're having a day today where you can just feel that spring is in the air. Speaking of which, we are now technically 93 days from the summer solstice, which means we are technically 93 days from summer. And I was inspired this morning to share with you a daily ritual, a daily practice that won't take more than 5, maybe 20 minutes that you can do every single day between now and the 21st by the summer solstice. If you want to feel absolutely as fabulous as you possibly can in your body. And so I'm going to give you a minimum effective dose. I'm actually going to give you my one that I do. And I'm committing to with you now, between now and the 21st of June, so that we can feel as incredible as we possibly can, mentally, physically, emotionally, and the whole shebang, but mostly physically, by the time we hit the beach for our summer holidays. So for those of you in the Southern Hemisphere, you're heading into winter, listen up, lovelies, because if you begin doing this daily practice, just take the minimum, do the 5-minute minimum every day, and you just get used to doing that. These are foundations of health, of health, of all health, physical, mental, emotional health. If you do these foundations, you are setting yourself up for success on every level. And if you then ramp them up as you're heading towards your summer break in December, you are just not going to know yourself. Now, this work is to be done in the context of already working on food freedom. So there's a bunch of other videos out there. I also have an incredible masterclass that you can access. Go to the website, you'll find it easily enough. Links will be in the description. If you want to start understanding how to break free of decades of disordered thinking and diet mindset and all the things that created compulsive and impulsive relationships with food where you're feeling a bit out of control. Assuming that you're already on that journey and doing that work, there is no reason that ditching the diet should mean just not doing anything else. And there's no reason we can't ditch the diets, start building our food freedom while also working on all of the other 7 parts of health that are going to help you feel incredible in your body by the time summer's here. So let's dive in. I'm going to give you something that I would give any client who wants to feel really great in their body. And this is something that I do myself, and I just double down as we head into the summer. So the great thing about summer being on its way is you are going to already notice the days are getting longer. Your energy levels are going to start picking up. You're going to have more motivation, more drive, more desire to do all the things that we're going to talk about today and to do more of them than the minimum. And you're naturally going to notice that your tastes begin to change. In winter, when we're listening to our tummies, we're noticing things like rich casseroles, soups, heavier food. As we move into summer, you don't even have to try and diet. Your body is just naturally going to be feeling fuller than it was in winter. You're using less energy to try and stay warm, for one. So it's going to be craving a lot less. You're also naturally going to be noticing that your body wants lighter foods, fresher foods, healthier foods, anything that won't be too heavy. Because as it starts heading into the summer months, everything just starts to feel a bit lighter. Of course, the opposite's happening in the Southern Hemisphere right now. You might notice over the next month, you're starting to feel a bit hungrier than normal. You're starting to crave sort of richer, denser foods. Don't be afraid of those things. That's your very clever body preparing for the winter months. And just get excited, because as you head into your spring, as you head into September, you're going to feel what we're talking about today. So for those of you in the Northern Hemisphere, get excited. Everything that you've been working on over the winter months is about to get so much easier. And this daily ritual that I'm about to describe is just going to feel easier and easier and easier to activate when the days are getting longer and the days are getting warmer. So let's dive in. By the way, if you are watching this for the first time, my name's Helen Bennett. I specialize in helping fabulous people across the world, such as yourself, ditch yo-yo diets, end emotional eating, stress out eating, blowout binges, mindless snacking, all that non-hunger eating, and really truly breaking free and feeling complete peace and happiness and relaxation with their relationship with food. And today we're just going to add to that with a daily practice that will help anybody, no matter what journey they're on, but particularly you, if you don't want to be focusing on calorie deficits and all that bollocks that's exhausting and probably just making the problem worse. Because I understand that at this time of year, it can be so tempting to just go on that crash diet, get that quick fix. And we're going to just put that idea down. Let's stay committed to playing the long game here and doing this the way it works sustainably long term. But it doesn't mean we can't ramp up a few things to have you feeling as good as humanly possible. So the thing we're going to talk about is a practice I call the Super 7. And I'm going to give you a minimum effective dose for that. So what are the Super 7 and how do we make it into a daily ritual? The easiest way to think about this is, what are the things that sustain life on planet Earth? So the first one is fairly obvious. It's air. Like, if we aren't breathing, we are dead. So fresh air, getting outside, these are all fabulous things. But ultimately, in the context of what we're working on, I'm going to encourage you to begin to find ways to breathe deeply into that belly of yours. And for many of us who spent a lifetime holding our bellies in, it can be very uncomfortable breathing into our belly. We don't have good associations with feeling our belly expand. But actually, what you will find is that deep belly breath brings such deep peace and relaxation into your body. It is so healing that all the other work that you do gets easier. Think about it this way as well. How many times have you eaten and on reflection you realize it's out of stress? If somebody is feeling stressed and they were to practice in that moment, trying to feel a bit calmer, without having to give you any cues, what is the first thing you'd probably do to feel a little bit less stressed? You'd probably take a deep breath. Now, if stress is causing you to overeat, what more powerful practice could you possibly be focusing on than focusing on a regular basis on accessing your breath, taking deep breaths, and breathing deeply into your belly? There are so many health benefits for this. It's ridiculous. That should be fun to create a whole different video on that. And in that, just one deep breath can be all it takes to slow you down, to make better choices in all sorts of ways, and particularly around food. It certainly gives you the capacity to begin accessing what's going on inside your tummy and your body as you do this work of food freedom. So air/breath work, that's first number one of the Super 7. Number 2, obvious and boring, water. So if you are wanting to feel fabulous in your body by summer, you got to start focusing on drinking more water. What that might look like is drinking less sodas, drinking less alcohol, another fabulous option if you want to feel incredible in 90 days' time. But just drinking a little bit more water every day. And I like to sprinkle, especially in summer, especially in New York. It's very hot here. We lose a lot of our salts to sweat. And a lot of us who have been trying to eat very clean tend to not have enough salts in their body. If you're somebody who tends to feel very, very tired at about 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon, it may well be that just a glass of water sprinkled with a little bit of salt or an electrolyte sachet, ideally non-flavored, it's just going to taste salty, could be all that you need to elevate your energy levels. So don't forget about your electrolytes, but just a glass of water, ideally with a sprinkle of electrolytes or salt, can make all the difference. Actually, on the side note to that, there's a great doctor I used to follow, who says that he believes, and he's probably right about this, that half the reason that medications work, it really made me think, is because we usually take medication with a glass of water. And he was saying the problem is everybody's so chronically dehydrated in the modern world that it's probably the glass of water that's causing the health benefits more than the drugs or the pills itself. Something to think about. All right. So 1 is air, 2 is water, 3. The third thing on the list, and actually think about it like this: if you don't have air, you don't live for very long. You don't have water, you don't live for very long. What is the third thing? Now, most people would say something like food at this point. It's sleep. We can go a lot longer without food than we can go without sleep. So getting good quality rest, being absolutely diligent in improving your sleep. You can dive deep into the weeds on this if you're somebody who struggles with sleep, but finding ways to improve the quality of your sleep, game changer. And if you're doing this work of food freedom, everything that you learn, all the new steps, all the action steps that you're taking, all the work that you're doing is hardwired into your nervous system when you sleep. It's not happening during the day. Neural plasticity happens when we are in a deep state of rest. So what better thing to improve all of your results in this food freedom journey and everything we're talking about today, and to begin hardwiring it into your nervous system, than ensuring that you're getting great quality sleep. Number 4 on the list. So we've had air, water, sleep. 4, exercise. We're putting food to one side for the purposes of this, but moving your body is actually necessary for human health. And so moving your body every day is necessary for human health. But I'm going to add to that, because we're generally living in such a sedentary lifestyle these days. I know for myself, I love coaching. One of the big drawbacks is that I am very sedentary. I'm stood in front of or seated in front of a laptop all day. It's very still. And one of the things I have to really focus on and double down on is moving my body regularly. Because it just doesn't feel good. And the more, if I don't do enough of it, I start to get all sorts of pain in my lower back, etc. So moving your body is absolutely imperative for human health. And we're going to double down on that part of this by the end of this live today. So we've got air, water, sleep, and physical activity, movement, exercise, whatever you want to call it. And then number 5, oh, I love this one, sunshine. We underestimate the power of vitamin D, baby. So get outside. If you have light skin, you probably don't need more than 5 to 10 minutes of vitamin D or sunshine every day to get the vitamin D you need. Like myself, I can just have 5 minutes a day, I'll be fine. If you have darker skin, my hubby, Portuguese heritage, has a beautiful olive skin. He needs a lot more sunshine than I do to get his vitamin D happiness hormones rolling. So, get that sunshine. And again, without sunshine, we're not happy creatures. We can have artificial sunshine, aka light. That's better than nothing. But being in the actual sun and feeling it on your skin, absolutely majorly powerful. And there are some people who would argue that if you can get sunshine onto the parts of your body that need healing, it's really, really powerful. Now, I don't know too much about that. I haven't looked at the studies on that, but it does make intuitive sense. Every time you're outside and you get into that sun and you feel it on your skin, guys, doesn't it just feel incredible? And what if they're right? And you just have to expose the parts of your body that need some extra healing into the sunshine, and it could make all the difference. It's worth doing. So get outside every day between now and the 21st, even if it's overcast. Those rays, you're going to need them. All right. Where are we? 6, I think, is social connection. We don't talk about this enough, but you will hear me harp on about it forever. We need social connection in our lives, and making it a priority to reach out to somebody that you love every day. Just connect with somebody every day. If that can make the difference between you feeling incredible in your body by the 21st or yuck, then do it. And trust me, it does. These things all work together. They all add up. And then the last one is smiling. It's actually fun and play. Anything that, again, will bring down that stress. Anything that will just alleviate all the pressures of the world and actually activate all the happy hormones inside you to create some peace and relief and joy, will move you in a really positive direction. And all the other work that you're doing gets easier when you're accessing more of that. So prioritizing, having some fun, being playful, letting go, and putting down that to-do list for a while. This one actually kind of coincides with sleep, because it's really about going offline, giving yourself permission to stop and to not be productive. And it's actually incredibly powerful and incredibly healing. So prioritizing a moment in your day to put down the work and just find joy is a game changer. So those are your Super 7. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you my personal minimum effective dose. So I'm going to pop it on the screen. If you're on your phone, you can screenshot it. Otherwise, you can just make a note. Right. This is my Super 7. This is like 20 minutes max. And you can make it even smaller than this, because we've got to be honest with each other. We are living in a very busy world, and most people will have all the good intention to do a full hour of Super 7 work, and they'll end up getting busy, or the hour will feel so much that they don't have time, that they just don't do it at all. So what I actually do is I have a MED, a minimum effective dose. And my MED is probably even smaller than this, but this is the one I try and hit every day. And I always try and do it first, because I know me, and you're probably the same. If you haven't done it first, it probably won't happen. So here we go. This is my Super 7. So the way I think about the Super 7 is sigh, sip, sleep, sweat, sun, social, and smile. Nice and easy. And sigh, I just take one deep breath. So maybe I get up, I'm boiling the kettle. I usually have a cup of tea first thing, boiling the kettle, take a deep sigh, done. Boom, 1, belly breath, happy days. Number 2, 1 glass of water. Now, in a worst case, my tea would work, right? Because I don't put milk or sugar in it. It's just a beautiful cup of herbal tea. I love a Chinese tea. That's my thing. But in most cases, I'm usually about to do some exercise. I'm usually about to do my sweat session. So I'll grab some water, put a bit of salt in it, and get ready to do usually a bottle. In fact, I have my bottle right here. And I'm ready to head into my sweat session. But before I do that, I just grab my phone and I set an alarm on my phone, thinking about the day ahead and when I want to hit bed, so that I can wake up tomorrow well rested and I've got sufficient sleep. Because you know how we all have this like bad habit at the moment of scrolling until 1 a.m. So I have an alarm on my phone to kind of wake me out of that scrolling stupor if I'm in it, or that binge watching of Netflix, and get my ass to bed, because I know how powerful a good night's rest can be. So I set an alarm to make sure I don't bloody forget. Now, I still manage to forget because I'm human, and the alarm goes off and I switch it off, and then an hour later I'm still scrolling or watching TV. You know what? We're human. We're not expecting perfection, but for the most part, it works. By the way I do it is I actually look at the time I want to try and get to bed, and then I set an alarm for waking up, and I always do it in 1.5 hour increments. So I've found, because my sleep cycles are 90 minutes long, through a bit of experimentation, I've discovered it. And I don't want to wake up midway through a sleep cycle, because it's a horrible way to start my day. So I'll generally go 6 or 7.5 or 9 hours out from when I'm going to bed. So I have an alarm that reminds me to go to bed. And when I'm in bed, I sort of roughly guess when I'm going to fall asleep. And then I just set an alarm for 6 or 7.5 or 9 hours from there. Interestingly, in winter, in the depths of winter, I tend to need 9 hours to feel fully rested. Currently, 7.5 is my sweet spot. And I know by the time I'm hitting midsummer, I'll be doing 6 hours of night, happy days, well rested, hitting the rest of the day. So just watch and be curious to find out what your amazing body is needing. So I actually just try and set my alarm for exactly 6 or 7.5 or 9 hours from when I go to sleep. And it's taken a bit of practice, a bit of trial and error, but I way prefer that to just having a set alarm time, which could potentially wake me up midway through a sleep cycle. Okay, that's just me. Sweat, 15 minutes is my minimum. In fact, on a really busy day, I might only do 5, and it might just look like some simple yoga movements, some very gentle sort of opening of my body and moving of my lower back, particularly because I'm seated all day. But on a good day, I'll get a 15-minute sort of power sweat session. And on a great day, I'll be hitting up to 45 minutes of exercise. On the weekend, if I'm lucky, maybe even an hour. But, we're busy human beings. So, a 5 to 15-minute minimum, and I'm done. My Super 7's being hit. I have to force myself some days to get outside at least once and stand in the sun. Luckily, in Mallorca, we have a lot of sun. But sometimes I'm so busy, I don't even notice. I haven't even stepped outside. Now, that might sound crazy, but I don't have kids. And I work from home. So often I'm just in this apartment. I'm so focused on work that I have to actually remember to get myself out onto the balcony, to have a breath of fresh air, put the phone down, let my mind run, and just stand in the sunshine and absorb it. So hitting my Super 7 requires me getting outside at least once, right? That's my minimum. Social, on a bad day, just sending one emoji to a friend, one emoji to a loved one is all that it requires. It's kind of like just letting them know I'm thinking about them. It makes me feel good. They feel good. Everybody's winning. I feel connected to somebody. And then the last one is just to literally smile, literally just put one smile on my face and I'm done. Boom. And here's the key to your minimum effective dose. I want you to design your own one, because having a minimum and hitting that, you can always feel like done. Obviously, if you do more than this, you're winning. But what you can do is try and do all of these things at the same time. So, for example, if you are to grab your bottle of water, take your deep breath, set your alarm for bed, and then head outside into the sunshine with a friend who makes you laugh and do 15 minutes of exercise, you've just achieved your Super 7, smashed it out the park very, very fast. So the more you can combine these, the better, right? Or if you do exercise that requires deep belly breathing, like certain yoga, or maybe Pilates, where you have instructors who focus on your breath, awesome. You're smashing out 2 for the price of 1. And if you're doing it outside with your friends, even better. Okay. So doing the work to be happy, healthy, and free doesn't require hours, power hours. That's lovely. And when you can do them, fabulous. But you can just get away with a minimum effective dose. You do that repeatedly for 90 days or more, game changer stuff. Lastly, if you really, really are desperate to feel so much better physically in your body by the time you're on that beach, and you have to pick one of the things to focus on your exercise, focus on your movement. So what I would do is I would choose, of all the physical activity, if I was really, really determined to feel better physically in my body in 90 days, I usually tell people to go for joyful movement. However, if I was really serious, what I would suggest is picking 2 to 3 days to do resistance, aka strength training. Strength and mobility if you're sort of 45 plus, but strength. And I'll tell you why. I used to run a CrossFit gym, and we would offer 3 free sessions to anybody who wanted to try. And it was super cheeky. And the reason we did that, because we knew by the time somebody had done just 3 sessions of beginners entry-level CrossFit, they would be feeling so damn good in their body, they wouldn't want to stop. They would be compelled to sign up. It was the most unbelievable strategy to have somebody get a taste of what we did and then get the benefits of feeling so great. They started to feel muscles and just energized and alive in a way that they probably hadn't for a very long time, especially if they were deconditioned. It's a very empowering sport. I happen to be a CrossFit fan, but just doing 3 days where they were maybe doing strength and resistance training in a way they had never done before, because a lot of women in particular never really done any kind of weight lifting. Now, obviously, if you're deconditioned, you want to probably start with body weight first and then move into loaded. But ultimately, doing strength/resistance training will get you the benefits fastest, and it will feel so damn good that you will actually be able to feel differently, as opposed to doing something like, I love swimming, I love running, I love cycling. Low intensity forms of those are great for our health. But if I was forced gun to the head to only pick one thing to focus on that would really move the needle and help me feel really great, fit, strong, probably some fat loss, probably leaner, but definitely metabolically improved, it would be that. Fitness, strength training will make you feel good a bit more than anything else. Now, a lot of people think, oh, okay, I'll do it on my own at home. I love exercise. I'm one of the lucky ones. I struggle to do strength training by myself because it's hard. The best thing you can do if you're really committed to this is to find yourself a personal trainer, a bunch of mates, or a class, ideally, where you know that you'll sign up, so you'll go, you're probably investing in it, so you're paying some money and you don't want to lose that cash. So you go, and it'll force you to get through the harder work, because resistance training is hard. And because it's hard, we want to wriggle out of it. But when we're standing there and there's a bunch of other people around, or we have a trainer that we're accountable to, we're way more likely to show up and do the hard stuff and get the benefits fast. Okay, those are my top tips for feeling fabulous in your body by the time you're hitting that beach. Of course, this is in combination with doing all the all the food freedom work. If you'd like to work with me, just find my link, book a call with me. I've got 2 spaces available now. I've got 4 coming up in April. And if you start working now, you're not going to know yourself by the time you hit July for your summer holidays. Lovely ones. I hope that was valuable for you. I actually got so carried away in the conceptualizing of this video and thinking about it that I think what we might do, and let me know if you're up for this. You can tell me in the comments or you can pop me a private message. Let me know if you would like to turn this into a challenge where we all do a minimum effective dose of Super 7 on a daily basis, or at least hitting it 80 to 90% of the time. And we can build in some other things that you can do on top of your normal food freedom work to really and truly move the needle before the summer break comes. If that sounds like fun to you, I know I might just be me, maybe I'm a bit psycho, then let me know and I'll put that challenge together and maybe we'll do a 30-day challenge and you can always just repeat that, 2 or 3 times before the summer hits. Okay, if you found that valuable, please smash the like button or share it with a mate who needs to hear about the Super 7 and wants to feel great in their bods. And if you would like to, join me next Thursday, that'd be great. You can shout, you can let me know in the comments if you have any questions. I'm happy to answer them live on YouTube as I do the stream. I don't know yet what my topic is for next Thursday, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to be inviting a fabulous guest. So stay tuned and you'll see who it's going to be. All right, everybody, have a fabulous Thursday. Have a beautiful weekend. Here is to your food freedom, onwards and upwards. One little habit, one little change at a time. Adios, everybody.